Happen Monday video, I'm covering 10 different things that you can do to age awesomely. I'm Ziva Lennox, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, a very warm welcome. Let's get right to it. So for context, I'm 41 years old. I'm gonna be 42 next month. I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to look younger and feel great and feel strong and do whatever it is that we need to do to feel confident and to feel great in our skin, because that is the most important thing above all. There are things in our control that we can do to make the most of aging and age awesomely. Recently, I've heard a big backlash against the term anti-aging. I personally don't have a problem with it. I think if it's anti-aging, it just means that you're preserving yourself a little bit better. Cosmetic companies are moving away from that and using all sorts of different things like pro-aging, aging awesomely, aging amazingly. Why don't we just call it like a fine wine? Yum. That's kind of a good segue to start with the first one, which is to limit drinking. If you limit what you drink, you will absolutely retain a more youthful appearance. Drinking, first and foremost, really dehydrates our bodies, and it also just ages us. I think that there's a lot of benefits of drinking one glass of wine and really trying so hard to have at least half of the week where I don't drink anything at all, because it's doing my skin any favors. I feel like every time I drink wine, I wake up, I have bags under my eyes. I wake up with bags anyway, but it's a little hard to get rid of it, and I'm dehydrated, which is one of the things that ages you prematurely. You can limit your drinking to even just slashing a third of what you're drinking now. You'll see huge benefits in your skin tone. Along with that is, of course, hydration, making sure that you are not only just drinking water, but retaining the water that you do drink. A couple of tricks that you can do to help retain the water that you drink and not just pee it out is to add a little bit of a sprinkle of salt and lemon to your water, or electrolytes, which helps retain the water. Also, not to sip it through a straw. I heard once from a hydration expert that said that every time that we sip something through a straw, it evaporates on the way down, and not all of it, but much of it. And so it's very important that you just sip very slowly and allow the water to absorb in your body. Not to mention, straws are not great for the environment, just saying. The second thing you can do to age awesomely is be aware of your facial expressions. This is something that I see people doing all the time when they're furrowing their brow or lifting their eyebrows, or they're sitting there typing their computer like with a ton of expressions. If you're an expressive and like vibrant person, you want to use your whole face to talk, that's amazing. However, just being aware of your facial expressions is going to do so much that you age as awesomely as possible, because what happens is after time, like all of those expressions start to create a kind of a memory foam in your face, and it starts to remember the expressions that you. One of the things that I really try to limit myself is trying to move my forehead a ton. That's something that I have more control of than anything else. Like, of course, if I laugh, if I smile, you know, all that stuff, like I have no control of like my mouth and also like what my eyes are doing, but it's easier to just not constantly be going like this. Or if I'm sitting at my computer and I see like the reflection on my screen and I'm going like this, I'm like, oh, like just stop. So just being aware of it. You don't have to make yourself crazy. You're kind of giving yourself a natural Botox of sorts, where you're just being aware of your facial expression, trying to minimize them. Third thing to keep in mind to aging awesomely is your posture. Automatically ages you in a negative way is just by hunching over. I have a whole video, and I have two videos actually dedicated to posture, improving the strength in your back to have beautiful posture, and to also just keep your back healthy and aligned. The more your posture is strengthened and the better your posture is, the better you can work out different parts of your body, the more access you have to certain muscles when you're working out your arms and different things. So it's kind of an amazing thing to have in general. Not to mention, it keeps your spine nice and healthy as well. The fourth way to age awesomely is to think about your facial hair. I don't mean taking it away, but actually like your eyebrows and eyelashes. I have very, very, very light eyebrows, and when you have nice thick brows, I think it not only frames your face, helps have the appearance of youth. I never tweezed my eyebrows out. I never got rid of them like in the 90s. I've just always never had eyebrows. So something that I've always had to fill in from the very beginning. And one of the things that I've started to use, Brow, to help grow my eyebrows. I'm a week in, and I'm excited because I hope that in maybe like 3 or 4 more weeks, I will start to see more thickness in the eyebrows, because right now everything that you see in terms of my eyebrows is all drawn in with strategically with pencils and gels and soap brows. Like, it's a whole method to get my eyebrows into shape. And I feel like it's a very youthful appearance to have a well-constructed brow that's not just like drawn in, because that's an easy way to immediately age yourself. So the way that you use this is you just take it out and then you put the gel on twice a day. So I do it first thing in the morning and the last thing during, at night. Let it dry, and then or before it dries, you have like a little brush, pull it in and really have it go into your actual eyebrows, whatever it is that you do have. If you're interested in growing your eyelashes as well, this brand has another highly reviewed product that focuses on your eyelashes. Ophthalmologist tested, ophthalmologist tested, which is huge. We don't compromise our eyes. It's paraben free and fragrance free. So all these things, like, I like that it doesn't have parabens, and so I'm supposed to see results in 3 to 4 weeks. Fifth thing to keep in mind for aging awesomely is your makeup and what you're doing with it. One of the biggest mistakes that I see is people wearing a ton of makeup that is sinking into their pores, into their fine lines and wrinkles, and creating all sorts of more focus on what you want to detract from. So some of the ways that you can kind of help that effect is by using either better makeup or by lessening your makeup. You have to pick what you want to wear in terms of wearing a ton of thick concealer, a ton of thick foundation, and a ton of cream powders, and you can just kind of picture in your skin all kind of caked on. I just came back from Nordstrom's and I had a few different foundations that I was testing to stack them up against the foundation that I currently use, which is by Terry. It's called Hydro something. I'll put it up here. And really what it focuses is it's a hydrating makeup. So it's a foundation is one of my favorites that I've ever used. So the jury's still out on the ones that I'm trying from Nordstrom's. I'm trying a NARS one, and I'm trying a Charlotte Tilbury one, and I'm also trying one by Gucci Westman's. I'll make sure to provide an update. The way to add more hydration to your skin is either with setting spray or rose water spray in between your concealer or after your foundation, before you put on any blush or before you put on any powder, just to retain that hydration. It is so important. Thing to keep in mind for aging awesomely is your lipstick. Paying attention to your skin tone and also the consistency of the lipstick is so important. I have a lot of like little fine lines, and not quite wrinkles yet, but like definitely a lot of fine lines around my lips. And so anytime that I make the wrong decision with my lipstick, it really highlights that I'm aging. I'm wearing this Hot Voodoo lipstick by NARS, and I fell in love with the color. The color is a nice gold, beautiful color. The problem is, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but it is completely going into every single crack, fine line, not only on my lips, but around my lips. And so even though I love the color, yeah, it does not look that good. Possible solutions are to put a nice heavy gloss on there to just hydrate again. Other mistake that you can make is choosing the wrong color, and I'll show you this in an overlay. But this is a beautiful light pink lipstick. It really completely washes me out. I look like a little frosty, like I should have frosted tips in my hair, So colors and also consistencies are so important for lips. It's just like when you line your lips also. If you line them around your lips and you're like feeling good about lining your lips, and you fill it in with lipstick, and then you go eat something or the night goes on, and before you know, you just have the lined lips. Some things to keep in mind so that we don't work against ourselves. For aging awesomely, one of the most important things that we can do is keep the suppleness and consistency of our skin, like the actual surface of our skin. So even if we do injectables, filler, whatever it is that we do, or even if you've gotten a facelift before, you need to work on the consistency and the suppleness of your face as well. The Glo-Pro is one of those things that I use all of the time. I absolutely love this roller. What it does, it has these tiny little blades that sound scary. It's kind of like microneedling at home. And the little blades, it feels kind of like a cat licking you a little bit, kind of like microdermabrasion. What it does is it creates these passageways in your skin to boost and encourage new cell growth. When the new cell growth happens, that's when it starts to look plumper and beautiful and supple. And it also helps create passageway for a product, whatever product you use, whatever cream you might use, to actually absorb in your skin. So I always notice, I took like a 2 or 3 month break from this as I was moving to Florida, and I was just like, I can't find it. Where did I pack it? And you know what? I have to get back to it. I have to get back to Glo-Proing because I felt the sagginess in like different areas of my skin. I've never done any injectables or fillers or anything like that. And so I really highly depend on the consistency of my skin looking good because I don't have any help. Like my face is just naturally going down with gravity. So anything that I can do to help propel cell growth, help propel this health of my skin, I'm just really vested in. This runs at about, the whole kit, starter kit starts at like $200, and you have to replace this every 3 or 4 months, which is like, I want to say it's like $30. So I don't do microdermabrasion anymore, which I used to do probably every 3 to 6 months, but now I don't, and I kind of just quit because of a little thing called 2020 that happened. And so I didn't really see the difference of not doing it anymore because I was being so disciplined at home with using the Glo-Pro. I love it. And tip number 8 of aging awesomely is retinol. And this is a product by Beauty Bio that I've used, I want to say this is my 4th round of it. The way that it works is use this for 6 weeks. There's 3 of them. I'm missing one. I've already gone through it. So I'm in the middle of doing phase 2, and phase 3 is the last 2 weeks of the program. And the way that it works, it's a retinol program, and it starts at the minimal level to prep your skin for deeper and deeper levels of retinol. It reduces pore size, it helps with the consistency and suppleness of your skin, it helps with fine lines and wrinkles, it just kind of lifts everything beautifully, just kind of like airbrushes it out, like real time. It's so beautiful. I really look forward to the 2 times a year that I do this because for the like 2 months after it, my skin feels so great. They also have one for the neck only, which I am so excited to try because my neck is one of those things that now, like approaching 42, I'm like, oh, you read the book by Nora Ephron, like there's something about my neck. I remember reading it when I was like, I think I was like 30, 31. It was before kids. I was very young, and it was just in my in-laws' library, and I started reading it during the holidays, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like thing was really scary. And you know, you're like, read it when you're young and you're like, you know, it's so far away. And now I'm like, oh, the neck time is here for me now. It's definitely signs of like, uh-oh, there's like a neck thing going on. So I'm super excited to do it. It's the same kind of program. This is just for your face, but I just want to do the neck reversal. This is called the reversal. So there's a neck version as well. We're really getting through these. Tip number 9 of aging awesomely is to limit weight fluctuations. We all go through weight fluctuations. Every single one of us. At any given point during the year, I might weigh 5 or 10 plus or minus pounds, and that is okay. It's just part of being a woman. We have a ton of hormones, we have a ton of different things going on, and that's just something that happens. You want to avoid having huge fluctuations in either direction because that is just going to age us. If you've already experienced a huge weight fluctuation, I think the most important thing is to not stress about it because that also promotes healthy eating habits when you're stressed. So the number one thing is to not stress about it, but just try to limit it. And I'm not a scale person. I don't remember the last time I weighed myself. I think I weigh myself when I go to the doctor and I'm like, oh, like it's around the same amount. I can always just tell by the way my clothes fit me. And so some people are scale people and some are not scale people, and that is totally fine. I think that if you're the type of person that likes having that control and seeing the number be a plus or minus 2 pounds every day, and you don't want to get far from that, then that works for you, and that's great. For me, I'm so competitive that I'm like, okay, like let's see if I can weigh less tomorrow, and then tomorrow I'm like, let's see if I can, so I just don't even want to go there. But there's so many things that you can do that I'm happy to cover in a different video of ways to kind of rejuvenate and also get your body back after a huge weight loss or gaining weight after being underweight. Related to that is not being underweight once you're over 40. I remember reading one time that J-Lo said, when you're 40 or after you're 40, you have to choose between your ass and your face. And again, it was one of those things that I heard like probably my early 30s, and I was like, oh, like, of course I want to, like, I choose my ass all day long. Of course, now that I'm 42, basically, I'm like, okay, well, I totally get it. For me to like love the way my body looks, my face suffers especially because I don't have any fillers, I don't have anything like that going on. If I'm so underweight and I have such low body fat, then my face doesn't look as good. So you kind of do have to keep that in mind. It doesn't Of course, you don't want to just gain weight for the sake of plumping your face out. You don't want to be below weight because it will age you. Not to mention it'll also hurt your muscle mass and your bone mass as well. And tip number 10 of aging awesomely, last but not least, so important, get rid of toxic people. They don't make you feel good. Just say no. Just get rid of them. It ages you so much to have toxic relationships in your life, and it can feel like it's really hard to walk away, but once you do, you'll see how liberated you feel and how much happier you are and how much less you're burrowing and frowning and crying, and all of that stress, emotional stress, is a huge ager. So like, you don't want to kind of carry that burden with you. The ability to walk away. Most of us do. There's very few times when you can't walk away from a toxic relationship. Life is too short to have negativity caused by somebody else. Like, there's already negative things are going to happen and positive things are going to happen. But to actually choose to stay when somebody is aging you from the inside out, because that's what happens. You age from the inside out. So start to get rid of those toxic people. And if you're not ready to right this moment, then the first thing you can do is get rid of toxic things. So eliminating toxicity from your life, whether it can be a very small thing, whether it's like quitting smoking or quitting processed foods, then that'll start to give you willpower to climb up the ladder of getting rid of toxic things. And then you'll be like, you know what? I'm ready to get rid of that toxic person. Get rid of negativity and toxicity in your life, and you will age so awesomely. I hope that if you enjoyed this video, you also check out my top tips for staying fit over 40, as well as imposter syndrome and how to deal with that, how to get confidence back those times where you feel like you're lacking it and you need it the most. Thank you so much for watching. If you had fun with me today, please hit the like and subscribe button. I would love to see you again, and have an amazing day.